Hi there, Sandra here from createinspain, and I just wanted to give you a little tip today. I've got here some, well, they're supposed to be binding covers, so if you're doing things like spiral binding and that sort of stuff, you might have seen these before, you might have got some. These are from Fellows and they are polypropylene. This particular one are heavyweight, they're A4 size, there's 100 to the pack. And these are 500 microns thick. So it is like this. It's very similar to a flexible chopping board in thickness and flexibility. Now you can cut these on your Siser cutter. You will need a good sharp blade, and it will tend to dull your blades a bit because it's quite a tough material. And you may need to do more than one pass. What you will most definitely need if you're doing it on a plotter like the Siser is a very sticky mat, because you do not want this to be moving around, otherwise it's just not going to cut well at all. Now, why would I want to cut this in the first place? I like this for making stencils. This is washable, durable. If I've got stencils that I just want one use, make them out of card, no problem, I don't have a problem with that at all. But if I want a stencil I'm going to want to use a few times, or maybe quite a lot, and if it's something like, I don't know, clouds, or a sea stencil, or a meadow stencil, or something of that ilk, then I would want preferably to cut it from this sort of plastic. The other thing is that if you have a standard sort of embossing machine, you can make stencils from this and you can use them to emboss patterns in your card and paper. It works extremely well, it's cheap, and it's certainly a lot cheaper than buying embossing folders, so you can do that. It stands up to more abuse than a card embossing folder would because it doesn't compress in quite the same way. You'll find them on stationery sites, I'm sure. I get these when I want them from Amazon. I also happen to have a laser cutter, but mine is not a CO2 laser cutter, and therefore it won't cut this because it's it's not opaque, it's transparent. Frosted, but transparent. And I bought these before I got a laser cutter, so I've had these for quite some time. I've got a vast stock of them. But I cannot cut this on my laser, which is a bit of a pain, because lasers are really, really good at cutting things accurately, and you don't have the, shall we say, the idiosyncrasies of a blade, all right? If you happen to know somebody with a laser cutter, or you got one, then you can use polypropylene to make stencils, but you need to get this one. This one is called polyopaque, and it is literally opaque. I've just started testing to cut stencils with it, and it works like a dream. Now, I have a 20 watt X-Tool S1, and I used a power of 50 and a speed of 50 to do this stencil. Now you can see that I've got my pieces and they will just pull out beautifully. Nice clean edges, and this is going to be magnificent for using for the purpose that I want it for at the moment, which happens to be embossing card. I'll probably use it as a stencil as well, but I want to emboss some card. So this stuff is not as heavy as the clear one. And this one is 300 microns, I believe. But I bought it on Amazon and the details said 300 microns, I'm pretty sure. But again, it is really, really nice stuff to be able to use. And I was happy that it was a bit thinner, because if you've got a plastic which is too thick, a laser might be inclined to kind of burn the edges, melt the edges in a way that isn't leaving you with clean edges, whereas this is nice and clean. And I don't actually need it to be any heavier than this. So you can see from the bits I cut out, in fact I could use these as little shaker pieces. They're little Christmas ornament shapes, that's what I designed them to be anyway. Don't know whether they really look like that, but that's what they're supposed to be. So I figured that the 300 would probably be thick enough, and yes it is. And it is certainly thick enough if you want to use it as stencils and not for embossing, but I see no reason why I couldn't emboss with this as well. So yeah, just a little tip for you, because you can easily cut polypropylene on your laser. It's one of the plastics which is supposed to be laser safe, not like vinyl, for example. And as I said, lasers are just brilliant at doing this kind of thing, because there is no blade turning or anything else like that. It's just pure cutting power. And this one took me something like 2.5 minutes to cut out at that speed. Now I will do some refining on my power and speed, because I may well be able to make it go faster. But to be fair, if you're cutting something relatively small, and all these shapes are relatively small, the chances of you getting a very fast speed out of your laser are pretty minimal. It's rather like expecting a car which might go from 0 to 60 in, I don't know, 2 seconds or something, but it won't do it within like 3 inches or 3 feet. It will do it, but it won't get there quite that fast. So from that point of view, I'm not overly in a hurry to get my stencils cut out. I'm not a business, but yeah, perfectly cut stencil, cut first time, no problem. And yeah, I'm really thrilled. The only thing which is a slight drawback for me, obviously, is that it's not transparent. But am I going to buy a CO2 laser just so I can cut transparent stencils? Probably not. If I was doing it for a business, yes, I would, but I'm not. So this will do quite nicely, thank you very much. Now the other thing I'm thinking that you could use is for things like luminaries and that sort of thing. If you can find a way to actually adhere this stuff to itself, and I've not tried doing that yet, doing something like luminaries or whatever out of this would be good, because the light can't go through the polypropylene, but it will go through all the gaps. So yeah, I think this might have a few more uses as well. So that's it. Hope you found that useful. I will see you again sometime soon. Take care now.